So for the purposes of this video, I am not going to be doing any fancy editing, and I am not going to be using a microphone to make my audio clearer, because I would not do that. Okay, seriously though, let's talk about Drew Gooden. Drew Gooden. Some of you may think that I'm not a fan of his. If so, that is probably because you didn't watch that entire video. And later on in that video, I did declare that I was a fan of Drew Gooden's, and it was all a joke. But if you did subscribe to my channel due to that video, which you probably did if you're one of my subscribers, because a lot of you subscribed due to that video, you must have watched the whole video to understand that I am a fan of Drew Gooden's. So, anyways, he did a review of sorts of Lost. If you haven't seen that video yet, spoiler alert, he is a fan of Lost, and so am I. So when I saw that come up, I was like, oh, please no, do not hate on Lost, because, as I've said, I am your fan, and I'm also a fan of Lost. And if you hate on it, I will be very upset. I even commented this. So, he did a review, and I want to talk about the things that I agree with, which is most of what he said, pretty much. Okay, number one, it is a great show, and it was before its time. He said that. Trust me, he said it.
It was about a decade ahead of its time.
The thing that I don't agree with, which I guess is number two, and it's not necessarily that I don't agree, I guess I just didn't notice. He said that the CGI was a little cheesy.
Special effects in 2004 looked awful. In fact, that's one of the only things that hasn't aged well about the show is some of the special effects. But as long as they're not trying to computer animate a submarine, the show generally looks really good.
And honestly, when I was watching it, I never noticed that it was cheesy. Maybe if I watched it again after thinking about it, I would realize that it is a little cheesy, but I never noticed. He said it is. Okay. Another thing, while we're talking about things that I disagree with, another thing that I don't know if I'd say that I disagree. I just realized something that he didn't. He said that the cast was all kind of a new cast, not any established actors.
I love that almost no one in this show was an established actor at the time.
I can't think of this actor's name, but the guy that played Merry on Lord of the Rings, he was in Lost. You probably know that. Okay, just go ahead and insert me here so that I can tell them. Dominic Monaghan, that was his name. That is his name, the actor, and he played in Lord of the Rings, and then he played Charlie in Lost. Okay, back to what you were doing. So I'd say he was an established actor, right? Also, I think there's at least one other person on the show who was an established actor, but I can't think of them. I'm sorry, just one more thing. Matthew Fox played in this show called Party of Five in the 90s. And I don't know how popular that was, but it went on for a few years, so it was probably decent. And then the other thing is Emily Day Raven, if that's how you say her name. She played in Carrie, at least, and then maybe some other stuff before she was in Lost as well. So I didn't look into the rest of them. But those were pretty easy to find. But for the most part, Drew was correct. A lot of them were newer actors that weren't too established. Beyond that, let's see, what else did he say? The ending. Okay, the ending is what everyone wants addressed. A lot of people don't like the ending because they think that it meant they were dead all along. I was actually just talking to my brother-in-law about this yesterday, and he's like, yeah, the end was crap because they were dead all along. Yeah, pretty much, that's pretty much what he said. And that's not really true. The people who made the show have come out and said that's not true. What I see, or what I imagine as the end, is more they died eventually, and then this is the part where they're all coming together to meet each other. They all made it back, I guess. I'm getting a little messed up here.
I'm going to lose track here. And
I'm sorry. But that's kind of what I imagine. Like, they didn't die in the plane crash. This is just, they all lived their time on the island, and then later on they died, and they all found each other and did that whole rigmarole. So that's kind of what I imagine. I don't remember what I've seen other people have said was what happened at the end. I know I've watched videos on it. Don't mind my son, by the way. You probably hear him. I've watched videos on it and read about what other people think the end was, but I don't really remember what they said. I can only remember my interpretation of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Definitely go subscribe to Drew Gooden, even though if you're subscribed to me, you are probably subscribed to Drew Gooden. But do that if you're not subscribed to him already. I appreciate your viewership. I would invite you to subscribe and watch my vlogs that I do that are so fun, and watch my other videos that are so fun. And I'll see you back here for the next one.
Legend has it that anyone who subscribes to Lemuel Dunleavy is awesome. So go ahead, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and watch his videos.